have a lot of things to tell you. I am experimenting, I can say, since a couple of months. I think this is going to interest a lot of women, but men as well. As you know, I'm 65 plus now. And some months ago, I had a small inconvenient. I don't have incontinence, but I had, like, if I was sneezing, losing a little drop of pee. So I was like, oh, I have to do something. And the interesting thing, I was thinking of that recently, following all what happened in the last couple of months with the decline of my mother, who passed away the 11. I realized that this started when she started to decline. And I went online. The first thing I did, I went online and I looked for a medical just map about how is the urethra for men and women. So I invite you to go and to look at your urethra system, where it's located, and the muscles. You can also have an overview from underneath about the perineum area, and to see how this area is, the muscles of this area are working together. So I went online and I checked on YouTube some exercise for the urethra to tonify that, to don't have this incontinence issue. That was not a big deal. It was just a drop when I was sneezing. But I thought I had to do something for that. And I take care about that area when I do yoga, because this is very important. It's a very important issue. For example, if you don't do abdominals, abs, right, in a right way, you're going to increase this. You're going to push the organs down. So you really have to take care when you exercise to really hold bringing up and really hold and muscles that part. So this, I'm used to do it in yoga, but that, in fact, I was not imagining that it will bring me to discover something else. So what I want to say here, I already spoke about these things in many videos about the relation between the soul, the spirit, and the body, and how all this is interactive. In fact, I already saw this long time ago that there is not a disease, there is not something. It's a disease, but in fact, it's something that at the energetical level is not aligned, is not centered, is disconnected. So, but I noticed that every time I had trouble in my body, since I noticed that in my early 20s, every time I had trouble in my body, it obliged me to bring my attention to that part of the body and to recenter, to observe, because I have maybe this ability to observe since I'm very young, because I've been isolated. I was alone when I was a kid. I was not with my family. So I've been used to be with myself and to feel and to connect the dot and to observe things. And I read a lot, so I was able to really use my spirit. And as I am curious, I always look forward. So what I noticed, it's going to be difficult because it goes in every direction like usual. It's that this started when my mother was starting to decline. What I was doing at that time, every morning, every evening, every morning when I wake up, but every evening before to sleep, I was connecting with her at the energetic level. And it was like I was close to her and speaking to her, and I was doing visualization and feeling in my body like if I was transcending and sending her by transcending the feeling of healing and feeling good in the body. So I was doing this every evening and I was falling asleep, and I was doing this every morning as well, and this was more intense. When I started to work on my muscles down there at all the sexual area, I know very well my muscles, I can isolate them. But what I can tell you is that to find the tiny muscles that are right around the urethra, to tonify them, it's very difficult. You really have to put your consciousness there. You have to look a map first. It will be easier if you don't know very well your anatomy. But you have to look for a map of this area to see where are the muscles and feel how you're going to contract them. And it's by steps. And it's not around the clitoris area, it's around the urethra area. So it's different muscles. When I was doing that, I was doing that mostly the morning, because if I do the evening, I was falling asleep. So the morning, I started to do this exercise, and it was the time also as when I was connecting to my mother, and I was sending, great thought, great energy, and like if I was beside her and speaking to her. And when I was doing this exercise, I was breathing in, feeling the muscles, squeezing them, and continue to breathe, not stopping, breathing. And every time I was breathing more, I was squeezing more muscles wider, more round, more up to the anal area. And I kept 5 seconds and I release. And I was doing this again. But I was doing this also with the consciousness that what I breathe, I spoke about that recently in one of the videos. For me, I cannot detach my physical body from my spiritual body, from my invisible body, my wholeness. So for me, when I breathe, I'm connecting. When I breathe in consciousness, really present, I'm connecting directly to my wholeness, to my invisible part, to my higher self, to this timeless energy, in fact, to my energy, my essence, my divine essence. So when I do the exercise, I connect to that part, and it's like this divine, invisible part of me. When I breathe, I inhale that, and when I exhale after, I push this in all my cells, like it's gonna irradiate all my cells. And I inhale again. I don't push when I exhale, I don't push it like something that is, there are two different exhalation. It's like I can exhale very strongly, having in mind that I blow away everything my body doesn't need. And I inhale again with this consciousness of that, in fact, I allow this breath, this invisible part of me, to go in my body and irradiate that. And when I inhale that time, I inhale with this consciousness, and I exhale like pushing the divine in all my cells. And I do it again. So I start by contracting just around the urethra, the muscles, tiny. I continue to breathe. I contract more wider around the sexual area, the clitoris, and I contract more up to the anal area, and I even contract more to really squeeze to the ara and bringing up all that. What I noticed after it started like 1 month ago, before my mother passed, I noticed that something was happening. One day it was like, wow, I never experimented that before. It's like, as my mind, if I can say, I'm not in my mind, I'm just on the sensation in the physical body, just feeling and practicing the exercise and feeling. I have my eyes, I close my eyes, and my eyes are focused on my third eye, but also back of my eyes, where there is my pineal gland. So it's like, who is seeing? Who is back of that, able to see at the center of my brain? So I go there, and in the same time, as I'm really down there, really, and when I squeeze and I bring up to the aura and everything is squeezed, it's like I am up there, but I'm also in the same intensity down there. And it's like what is below is like what is above, and vice versa. And this, I repeated the experience, and now I can go to it. It takes maybe 5-10 minutes, but now to be able to be in this state of ecstasy. Because at that moment, there is no more thinking. It's just feeling. And the fact to breathe with that consciousness, in fact, to be connected to the invisible, the higher self, my invisible wholeness, I would say, and bring this in and be on this sensation, on the feeling. If I am tempted to use my mind, I go back to feeling, and for that I use sounds that are around me. For example, if I hear the birds, the morning there are the birds, I use the sound of the bird. I do this since a long time, since many, many years. I use the sounds of the birds, and I feel their vibration in my body. And I breathe with their sound, inhale, exhale. Now I add the contraction at the urethra muscles area and all the bottom of my body. At the beginning, I start tiny, just perceptible around the urethra, just this one, just like that, like breathing, like I breathe, I exhale, I contract, I breathe, I contract, I breathe, I contract. And after I go deeper, what I notice is that if I am tempted to think, it's gone. The only way to be able to keep that amazing feeling of nobody, it's like so light and so intense, it's to be on the feeling. So I use these sounds. If I'm tempted to think, I use the sounds that are around me. If I don't have birds, I use the sound of my silence, this metallic little sound. I use that, and I feel that in my cells, in all my body. I feel the vibration of that silence, of that shh. I feel it. And this helped me to be in the sensation, to don't be on the thinking. And at a moment, there is a disconnection totally with the thinking. And that is wonderful. I'm lie down on my back in Shavasana, like my arm a little bit wide apart. Or also, I notice if I put my hands here, it's something I notice since many years as well. When I'm cold, I put my right hand on my chest here, where there is a thymus, and I put the left one. In 1 minute, it's warm in all my body. There is a small miracle there. So sometimes I'm lie down on my back, but I put also my hands like that. It's what I did this morning. And this morning I had another sensation that I never had before. it was like I was not asleep, because the problem, if I do it the evening, I fall asleep. I am falling asleep very easily. So for me, it's great to do it when I had a good night's sleep, where I cannot sleep again. Because like this, I can feel during the experience what is going on. So if I am like that and I am on that state, after like 5 or 10 minutes of this breathing and of this contracting, it's like a pump, you know, you aliment, like you contract and you, it's like a rubber, you know, your spine become an arc. And it's what I was learning in when I was taking my song class with my teacher in Paris, with Sylviane, who is working in energetic. So you make your spine like an arc, and more you arc and more you bring the pubic forward, contracting down there, and more your chin is up there, it's more and more open up there, and you can have maximum power. Babies, they scream so strong because they contract down there, and it's very powerful. So I notice also for babies when they scream, what you can do. For me, I do it. It works every time. You take them and you put one hand on their bottom, and you beat kindly their bottom like that. I can tell you after a while they stop, because this brings a vibration. And you can do this also for people who need to be like relaxed. It brings to relaxation. So doing this exercise of breathing down there make in fact the same kind of movement inside. So this morning the experience was really amazing, because I was not sleeping, but I could feel inside the exchange. It's magical. And it's what I wanted to say at the beginning. For me, there is no disease. It's like the wholeness that we are, and we have to experiment things in our body, because we came to have a body experience on this planet. It's like our soul, by the body, is creating a situation that we call disease for us to find a way to repair. But in the process, in fact, I discovered something stronger than just repairing that is repaired, because I don't have it anymore after 2 months. So it's like beyond the physical inconvenience. It's something that is a direct connection with the wholeness, with the higher self, the divine essence, the soul, that want in a way to experiment something in the body, and for that create a kind of discomfort for me or for us to be curious, to see how it's possible to be free of this discomfort. And beyond the healing process, I discovered something that I would never discover if I have not that. I would never discover that if I don't have this little incontinence. It's fantastic. When you think about this process, it's really fantastic. And all this happened during the passing of my mother, during her transition in that other invisible state. The morning she passed, I had this conversation with her where I was like telling her, can you believe it, how amazing it is? I was in your body. It's fantastic. And I was like feeling like it was like when I was baby. I had an experience like that working on sound in Paris. I did a workshop with Tomatis, and the sound and the voice. And I had a regression when I was in utero just before birthing. I could feel the pressure of her body on my spine and the need to get out of there. So, and it was so strong. So this morning when she passed, I was like telling her how I was amazed about that I grew in her body. And I guess it's for that 3 days before and 3 days after I've been affected physically because something was cut from the bodily experience. And now I have no pain again. It's great. And I cannot disconnect this from her passing neither, because it's by that area that we birth. It's by that area that we create. And the amazing thing, I spoke about that with Anouk also, we had this experience, and I wanted to share with her, but it's too late in France. And we may do a video about that. I must say that my mother is more present to me now than when she was alive. It's like the fact that she's not alive anymore in the physical dimension. Like when she was in the physical dimension, she was there. You know, it was like, okay. But now it's like she's present. I don't feel her, but I think of her a lot. And it's like I travel toward her energy. It's totally different when she was alive. And we were not really close, even if I spoke about that and I said I made peace with her, and I felt a lot of tenderness for her in the last years. But something is stronger now. It's like there is more presence. At least from my part, I'm more present in my heart and in my mind. I'm thinking of her, and with my spirit, I'm like, in a way, looking for her energy. And I must say that I was hoping to have a sign, you know. I was like, oh, maybe she's gonna, you know, do something, like, but it has been no sign. So I could be, sometimes I'm tempted to think, oh, when we die, there is nothing left. But in fact, I know that it's not true. I know deep inside. So it's quite a very, very interesting experience. The body is fascinating. And I think that it's not I think, I noticed that every single time I had some trouble in my body, every single time I discovered something at another level, a way to change a behavior that was not making me aligned with integrity, a way to carry my body differently. You have to be curious. You have to, now you if you are here, you are online, so now you can go online and check it out and look and read and watch video and practice, do the exercise, try, feel, and I'm sure you will discover something more than just resolve the inconvenience, because you're gonna put consciousness. I always said, since I started the video, every part of the body you put attention, you're gonna have a response, you're gonna have a benefit. But I'm totally amazed about that experience, and it makes sense, because as above is below and vice versa. More you are in touch down there, present there without thinking, just breathing, exercising, squeezing, and in the same intensity there, on your third eye and your pineal gland and back of your eyes, with the consciousness that your being, your whole being, is not only this physical body, but it's this magical, invisible side of you, and you connect by the breath. In fact, when I say I feel I'm breathed, it's that. I'm breathed. It's not me who breathe. Yes, I breathe at the physical level, like 3D level, I would say I breathe. But if you think you are breathed, you connect deeper with the invisible, with your higher self. It's fantastic. So I wanted to share this with you, and I invite you to experiment, even if you don't have incontinence. And it's valid for men and women, because we have all the same bottom and the same top. So you can connect, and by the spine, when I do that, when I am on my back, I bring back the pubic bone forward when I contract the muscles, and up to the aura, up to here. I contract, I breathe, I contract more, I breathe, I contract more, I breathe, I contract more. I keep 5 seconds. And I relax slowly. And I do it again. And you can do this, like, oblige you to do it 10 times and to be really present there. You're going to see, will not be in feeling, but you're going to be in thinking, you're going to be in feeling. Because you're going to feel so much pleasure. It's orgasmic, but it's beyond orgasm, because it lasts longer. It's like diffusion in all the body, and it's fantastic. It's really ecstasy. So I encourage you to experiment, and don't wait to have some little. I give you a small treat here, and it's wonderful. So I encourage you to do that, to do your own, to go online, look how, if you don't know anatomy, check how it is, try to isolate muscles, the muscles of your urethra, tiny muscles at a certain part, try to feel where they are, and after around the clitoris area, it's over muscles, and towards the anal area, it's over muscles, and you can feel how this, when all this is contracted, you can go to the aura, contract, bring the pubic forward, and contract more and more and more, and breathing and more and breathing and more. And your head, not like that, but like that. Your spine is like an arc, and you relax. You will see. It's fantastic. So I wish you a good evening, or a good day, and very soon. We have a beautiful live video coming on the 3rd with Athena from Sage Goddess, and she's going to explain to us her path. I'm curious about it, because I did not ask anything. I'm curious to know how she arrived to be like she is today. Very interesting. Bye-bye.